the Resident Evil series, how you have changed. Now, we are going to talk about how we can improve Resident Evil 5 today. Now, obviously, we could talk about the old style of Resident Evil, but that is in the past, guys. That is not coming back. So we got to take a look at what Resident Evil is now. It's kind of an action horror co-op adventure game since Resident Evil 5, of course. So how can we improve Resident Evil 5? Well, we're going to talk about that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do this shit. So, first off, okay, the story. The story has, obviously, if you've been since the beginning, is definitely got a long track. It's been all over the place. But, last we saw, Sheva and Chris in Africa killing and doing their thing. And the virus is obviously now more known in the actual society. And as you can see in Resident Evil 6, it looks like it's taken to a just global scale with multiple locations through the story. Now, I personally would like to see the story improve by just having more stuff with either Umbrella / whoever this corporation is taking over. I want to get to the bottom of seeing exactly what's going on with Ada, because she's been a mysterious character for a long time now. And actually, I would personally, if the series ended here with 6 and completely was just done and they started something completely new, I would be happy. I mean, I want to see the story progress. It's got going, and the fact that Wesker's son is in it is awesome. But, I mean, how far can you stretch a series, story out? So I'd just like to see some cliffhangers and not cliffhangers, I'm sorry. I'd like to see some story things kind of brought to an end at least. We've seen some stuff, but they don't really like to put a finish on some of their story or character lines. I want to know what happened to Barry. I want to know what happened to some of these other characters from the series. But, yeah, that's how I think the story should improve.
I totally agree. With Resident Evil, it's lucky that it just has so many characters. And every time you think that they can do a whole game based on one of these characters, which they do, they add like 2 or 3 more fucking characters to the roster. So you're just like, oh, maybe they'll be in future games. And sure enough, they're in future games. So they really have no trouble adding a mass amount of characters. And don't get me wrong, a lot of them get killed during the way, but they just keep adding more and more and more. Like Sheva, she's in 5. How to improve from 5? Well, obviously they don't give a shit enough about her. She's gone, from what I've noticed.
She's gone.
She's gone. She did her thing in Africa. She's gone.
Yeah, so, I mean, think about that. All the different characters. You got Sheva. You got Barry. You got Rebecca. You have Billy from Resident Evil 0.
You got that English chick from the Resident Evil Revelations. You got just so many. Just so many. Captain. Just stop. Just stop.
It is ballsy that they brought Sherry back, though. I give them that. That was a ballsy move. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's the thing. Like you said, I hope this is the kind of the final one, and I feel like it could be. From Resident Evil in the past has always been basically the one main character. Maybe they have 2, like Resident Evil Code Veronica, but really that's it. It's always been that. This one is like, okay, there's 3 separate stories. Okay, each of them has their own, partner. So that's 6 characters now they're dealing with. And that is the most they've ever done.
Huge.
Yeah. And this could be the one where it comes to this one big conclusion. And I hear it takes place before 5. So,
they had said that, but that's been officially nixed. It's after 5.
Okay, because
there was confusion about that the way they worded it and stuff when they first announced it. But no, it's been confirmed. It is definitely after Part 5.
Okay, so I was gonna say this should, like, they can literally wrap Chris's story up, and 5 just ended it because kind of 5 ended it where there's no need. Wesker's dead. It's over. But I really hope that we, like you say, get to the bottom of it, get all the secrets out. It's cool to be a mystery, but Resident Evil, I mean, you can enjoy the story, but you gotta take it into account that I don't think it really ever took itself that serious.
No,
and it's fun. You laugh at it. But the only improvement I could see, like you said, is kind of cut it off. Let's end it. I don't care if they reboot it. I just want it to end.
Yeah, and I'm a huge series fan. I've been playing it literally since the original release on PlayStation. So I've been through them all since they've been coming out. And I mean, I love the series, but sometimes, guys, it's just time to move on,
It's time to say bye. I mean, I've read the fucking books, and
me too.
I love them. I think they were really good books. But it's time to end the series.
Yes.
Or at least end these characters. You could start a whole new one. Maybe make it even a more serious, but I think we both agree this is kind of where it should end off. You got the biggest roster. You don't need any more. Let's cut it all up. And you got all the characters in it that are important. Let's face it. and they could really end it here if they really want.
We could have ended it when Umbrella died, but no.
Oh. Gotta keep making that money, Capcom.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. No.
Monster Star Productions.
So the graphics, in my opinion, have always been kind of like a highlight with Resident Evil. They've always been really good in terms of character model and in terms of like crazy effects and environments. This has always been, the benefit. Especially Resident Evil 5, the lighting effects were awesome. The character models were awesome. You got some really cool designs with the zombies. So all that was a positive. What wasn't a positive is some of the animations are just downright hysterical and not on purpose.
Yeah.
It's just the way the zombies flip over and shit when you're shooting them with a handgun are hysterical. And also the other thing is, of course, this is always a major problem with me, and it takes it out of the suspense, is that when you shoot them like in the shoulder, like it's just a splat of blood. Like you don't feel like the bullet went in them, and it feels arcadey. And that's always been a problem with me since Resident Evil 4. But you kind of don't care when you're playing. But if there's anything that they can improve, it would be that. And I don't know if they're actually going to. Probably not. But it would be cool. And the only other thing is the animations, if they can improve them, which seem to be what they're doing from the trailer. But I don't know how good it'll look in the end result. But those are the only two things I really can hope for an improvement. Everything else from environments, character model, all that looks excellent.
Well, with graphics, Resident Evil 5 again looked stellar looking game. And even with granted the environments they were in and how limited they kind of were to just being in that setting, they still mixed it up decently well. I would have asked that I'd like to see more locations in Resident Evil 6, but that's apparently going to happen with 2 different stories and 3 very different locations. And I wouldn't even be surprised if there's a lot more Capcom's just not showing us, because at this point it looks like they've shown everything, but there's no way they have. They never do. There's always some secret locations and areas. But concerning graphics, the characters look really good. I did notice in the demo I played that there was some VSync issues, so I really hope that gets squared away, because that just always, VSync issues in games, especially when there's a lot of tearing, it can just kind of look bad. So I'm hoping that's improved. I heard rumors that they took that feedback from the demo, and it was an old demo, and it will be fixed. So, but that's one of my major things I just wanted to see improved. The animations, yeah, that's always just been a weird thing, even back in the old Resident Evils. It's just, the idea of them getting hit in the shoulder, like you said, and just being a blood splatter. I was 50-50 on that with graphically, because sometimes, you shoot them a couple times and nothing happens, but then you get that one shot or 2 shots or a shot in the leg and they react. So it's kind of 50-50 for me. But graphically, it's hard to ask for an improvement, because they're throwing so much shit into this one, and they're throwing a lot of different areas, and everything looks really good, from going to new old school look, horror setting, to also, the action setting that they have. I can't really complain too much on graphics, other than I hope the VSync and tearing gets fixed.
Exactly.
An RPG! Bravo to HQ! We're taking some major heat over here! I don't think we'll make it in time to relieve Alpha! HQ here. Copy that.
They wanna see blood, they wanna see hate, like a needle in your veins. I sing this with the name in a world that's insane. Was America to blame when you...
So the major thing with Resident Evil 5 is I didn't think it was a bad game. On the contrary, I had a ton of fun with it, and actually me and Slasher here actually played through like the entire game before it even came out.
Yeah.
So we loved it. It's nothing to do with that, but I guess the 2 major improvements I want to see with 6 is the creepiness factor has to come back in some way. It doesn't have to be like the old ones, but 5 really, besides some tense moments, there was no creepiness factor. And it wasn't really the co-op issue. It was the fact that it just wasn't creepy. And 4, very similar to 5 in gameplay, you still got the creepy moments. That first time you go in the mansion, first time you go in the village.
Castle.
Yeah, and it's not even being alone, it's the fact that it felt creepy. And in 5, you're in broad daylight most of the time. It's not really scary. There's no real...
Industrial areas.
Exactly. So I just want to see more of that, and I feel like they're going to improve that with having different characters. Some will be creepy, some will be more action-based, some will be all about survival. So stuff like that is what I'm hoping to see with 6. But 5, that's what they definitely could improve is the creepiness. And the only other thing is the AI. Now, I played all the time when I played Resident Evil 5 was with somebody, so I never had that AI, but I know that was a big issue. But just in general, the series AI has always been pretty, shitty. And, I mean, they're zombies, so you don't expect them to do much. But when you ever have to protect someone, especially in 4, WoW was actually fucking retarded. If you couldn't hide her, she was basically a walking target. And even when you did hide her, she was a retard. So that's something that the series in general just has to improve, and not in a whole sense. Just it's got to be slightly better. There's no way around it.
Well, and concerning the AI, the AI comment. I mean, true. You said they're just zombies, but don't forget now they can hold guns and shoot you, and especially in the new one in 6, it looks like they're running around and they've got control of their mutations. It looks like so. The AI, yes, has to improve because if there's any of that shit going on that was in 4 and some in 5 with these new guys, it could potentially make the game very frustrating. So as long as they get the AI a little better, the zombies can stay dumb and brain dead. I mean that does really make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully they can just get the gameplay with the more action bits because there's definitely more action bits in this one probably than any of the previous games. We should have a good gaming experience. Now, other than that, I mean, like you said, the creep factor's got to be there, and it looks like we're going to get it, but I hope that we haven't seen everything for the creep factor. I hope that there's more to come, and like you said, it doesn't have to be a lot, but just maybe enough spurts throughout. I also really miss puzzles. Now, I'm not saying that there needs to be, really, fucking missed level proportion of a puzzle, but I mean... But 4 had minor puzzles, whether it was moving switches up and down for certain things, or there was you had to turn a symbol a certain way for a gem. And in 5, it felt like they almost completely abandoned any of that. I mean, there was little moments, like in the temple area, there was a little moment of that. But I mean, it just really felt like they were just nope, we mostly just want you going from point A to point B and making this an action game. And I understand they're trying to kind of make this, for people that didn't like the old Resident Evils to get into. That was kind of the whole change process anyway. But I still wish, I feel like it needs to be an appropriate time. Like, if you're in, if say in Resident Evil 6 you're in a mansion or some creepy setting and there's some, lab or something, put a little puzzle in there. But if you're doing this part that's kind of like Call of Duty, Gears of War, running and gunning, and there's action and shit blown over, yes, I don't expect you to stop, pick up 2 pieces of an object, put them together, and use them to insert to go to some door. I don't expect that. But other than that, I mean, that's the main improvements I'd like to see.
Agreed. And the only one very small improvement, and it's not really hard to do, put a decent fucking cover system if we're going to have to fight guys with guns. What the fuck was that in 5? What was that? Why would they do that? It was not fun. So if you're going to have guys with guns, which it looks like you will in 6, put a cover system that works halfway decent. And I'm not talking about Raccoon City.
Yes, yes, and I will say, everybody wanted this, and we bitched about it in 5, and they have changed it, but nobody really talks about it anymore. I guess people just expect it. Is that you can now walk and shoot in Resident Evil 6? I only mention it because this is a how to improve series, and well, they've improved that, but don't forget there was a time where we could not walk and shoot. So
yes. And Dead Space proved that we can do that quite well and keep the horror element. So let's do that. Okay, Capcom? You're the best. Yes. And that's really it. Those are the improvements that we hope to see. It's not, I mean, these things all sound like you can put them in, so it doesn't sound like it's outrageous and we're not asking for much. You do that.
Easy, please.
We're easy to please. We like to get pleased by, Resident Evil, zombies and all. But, Capcom, do your thing. Even though you suck this generation, but do your thing.
Hey guys, happy to see us. Bravo team, weapons hot. Don't leave any Juamos standing.
Finally.